2026 sees me travel the length and breadth of England to run a marathon per week in each of its 39 historic counties. Why? To raise funds for Tommy's, the charity that does incredible work to try to end the heartbreak of baby loss. I'll be joined each week by someone who has their own story of loss, their own rollercoaster journey, their own reason to be there. This podcast shares those stories in the hope that they can bring awareness to an often undiscussed topic and even, perhaps, a flicker of light in someone's darkness. You can follow the runs, the stories, and donate to the cause at marathonsformiracles.com. Enjoy. Hello, welcome to week 23 of Marathons for Miracles. I was talking to someone earlier who I've got in my head that we're just over halfway, but actually I said we've done 22 and we've only got 17 to go. And the gap between 22 and 17 now feels quite a lot. It feels like we've done a lot more than we've got left to go. So not that I'm wishing it away, but after the day that we had on Saturday in 26 degrees of heat, there are starting to be a few moments where I think, why did I do this? But it's conversations like we're about to have and fantastic people that we have involved in the challenge and the awareness and stories that we're telling and sharing that obviously make it all worthwhile. And of course, the funds that we continue to raise, I think we reached 44,000 as a team this week. So that's all continuing to move in the right direction. So I will continue to go out and sweat profusely on Saturday mornings if it means that we can continue to make that sort of progress and have conversations like this. So this week we continue our southwestern odyssey. Obviously had Cornwall and Devon the last 2 weeks. This week we go to Gloucestershire. So moving slightly further back towards civilization. And we're joined by Bex. Hi, Bex.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I was whinging about the heat today. For those who are listening, is Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, and it hasn't cooled down much since the weekend. In fact, I think they've said today is the hottest May on record. So we've just been discussing how far forward we can bring the start time on Saturday.
Let's start at midnight.
Absolutely. That would be one way to do it. But yes, Bex is based down near the Forest of Dean, so we've got a beautiful route planned for Sunday, isn't it? Saturday. Yeah. I think I said Saturday. So yeah, we'll look forward to that, and we'll hear more about that later. But as ever, we'll begin by asking Bex, what is it that led you to be involved with Marathons for Miracles and with the Tommy's cause?
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me be involved in this. It feels like a really amazing thing that you're doing, and it's quite an honor to be just a small part of it. It was complete impulse that a mum group that I was in on WhatsApp for the local area, someone posted that you were doing this, and I was just like, that's me, that means me. I don't know, it was probably, I'd not long since had my second son actually, and there's probably a lot of emotions that were with it still, and I was like, I've got to do that. I was just getting back into running, and so it just felt like something that I wanted to do, basically. So we are very blessed. We do have two beautiful boys. I've got a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old, and we got pregnant really, really easily with Leo, my first time, no problems, smooth pregnancy, pretty smooth birth. And then I guess just naively assumed it would be the same again afterwards, because why not? So we started trying again when he was 2, and we got pregnant straight away. And we got to the scan, which the first time around is the point that you start telling everyone you're going to start making calls that day, like you have a little celebration, letting everyone know. And unfortunately, we got to the scan, and the tech was just like, no, there's no heartbeat. It was just really, really blunt. It was like the worst day of our lives at the time, and we could just see this dark screen, and it's not, well, I don't know. It's hard to explain, really. But it's similar to what a lot of people on your podcast have said, I think. Similar, it's a miscarriage or a silent miscarriage. Yeah. So there were no symptoms whatsoever. Other than maybe a week before the scan, I stopped feeling sick. And I just thought, we're nearly in the next trimester, preps, that's what it is. And so then, they were like, you can either just wait or or you can have an injection to hurry things along, and like just kind of ushered us out of there basically. And yeah, it was just horrific. We then had another 2 miscarriages in the sort of 18 months after that, at which point you get to go to see a specialist about it, which I know Tommy's has just announced something recently that's changed now and you can get help much sooner. But obviously,
Tommy's have announced their graded model of care for miscarriages. I don't think it's been adopted yet, but I think that it's been a huge piece of research that's shown how it would actually be very beneficial to the NHS to be more preventative rather than waiting. But that's a huge bit of work that Tommy's have just done. Hopefully will be adopted and taken forward. But yeah.
No, it's definitely a good thing, because it's like after the first one we were like, okay, this was horrible, surely it won't happen again. And then the second one was a strange kind of different kind of heartbreak. And then you want some answers. You're like, why is this happening then? Is this not going to happen for us? And they were like, well, we can't send you to a specialist until you've had 3. So then by the time we had the 3rd, I got quite ill. I had like an undiagnosed infection for quite a while. I wasn't getting much help with that. And we were just like, the wait to see the specialist about the miscarriage also was way in the future. So there was no way of getting any answers what was going on. And I thought, for my own health and my own sanity, we'll stop trying. Leo will be fine as an only child. Plenty of people, they're fine. It's not that we were just like, let's move on with our lives kind of thing. And then just through some beautiful twist of fate, Charlie came along last Easter, and we're very, very lucky. And I think since going through all that, it's what made me want to do this wasn't so much what we went through, but just, God, the conversations that I've had. I tell people that I'm running for Tommy's, and they just open up with these stories. People you've known for years just open up with these experiences that they've been through that you had no idea they were going through. I've had really close friends lose babies like beyond 20 weeks. We've got people in older generations who like sort of mentioned, like I asked why there was such a big gap between the ages of their children, and they were like, well, we lost quite a few along the way. And it was just kind of a throwaway comment that like they just went through that, and it was just, they didn't talk to anyone. It was just, I don't know, so many people go through it. And for us, it was literally the worst thing we've ever been through. And we're very, very happy now, and we do stay really positive. But I just, if any way we can help that from happening to other people, it's got to be a good thing, I think. So that's it really.
Well, that's it. Is a fairly diminutive subject. I think that's obviously a lot to go through, and I, as ever, I'm sorry that you had to go through it. And as ever, I will say that we continue to feel very fortunate that we only went through that experience once, because once was bad enough, and so more than that 3 times. I can't imagine it must.
I don't. It's you don't. You do that, don't you? You gauge your trauma to other people's, and it's like it's heartbreaking on every level. I don't think we need to compare. Like it's just
absolutely.
It's just horrible.
It's my mate Charlie, who ran London with me, I think put it very well, because they actually, his, if you remember, was the sort of the more IVF focused episode, and how they have 2 kids now and didn't lose any, but sort of have had to come to peace with the fact that they really struggled by going through the IVF process and the fertility issues that they had, and how you have to have that conflict of, I want to feel bad about this, but I know that other people have had it worse, and you have to just put that all aside and be at peace with
let yourself feel. I agree.
Your trauma, your grief, whatever you want to call it, is just as valid, and the people who have had it worse, in inverted commas, would never resent you for feeling those feelings. So
no, I agree.
But there's, as ever, lots of interesting points in there that you mentioned. Did you ever see the consultant in the end?
No, we fell pregnant for the fourth time, and we went to the scan and we saw Charlie, and then I think the appointment, it was close. I think it was like a week later, and I called and I was like, oh, if I cancel it and we miscarry, I'm gonna have to wait another however long it was. So we'd left it as long as we could, and then I think we cancelled like the day before because I felt horrifically nauseous and very pregnant, and just thought, right, no, I think we're okay, maybe with this one, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it was very stressful, as you can imagine. When you've lost one, you don't really trust the pregnancy at all. The whole way through, I was just trying to not think about it and be calm and like, hopefully he's okay. And yeah, so no, we never saw the consultant about the miscarriages. No, so I don't know why they were happening. I find it really confusing because they'll say to you, oh, it's nothing that you've done. It's just, it's unviable or it's genetic or whatever. But then they'll also give you this massive list of things not to do while you're pregnant as well, just in case. And so it's like, was it something that I did then? Maybe was I too laid back after the first one going so well, or did I have that coffee that day? You just, everything goes through your head.
Remember,
it's really, really heavy.
During Amy's first pregnancy that ultimately miscarried, we'd recently moved house and we were doing some decorating. I think we'd been really careful, but I think she'd like painted one skirting board or something because it needed doing and I was away or something. So she said, oh, I'll just get that done. And that really stuck in her head for some time. It's like, if I had have painted, it was the paint fumes from when I did that one skirting board and that was it. And that was, and
it was my fault.
So I'm not going to use the word mad but it's mad. She's not mad, but it's mad the things that do like take a hook in your brain and be like, oh, it must be that.
Yeah.
It must be that.
Just stuff that you'd forget about doing in the rest of life. Like, you just overanalyze it. Funnily enough as well, it was running with me because I carried on running, which I didn't with my first pregnancy 5 years ago. And I thought, oh, this will be fine. They say it's healthy to carry on. And I carried on running. And it was around the time I'd done like a 5-mile run with my friend. And I thought that had done it. So when we did get pregnant, I completely just stopped running, which was probably not good for me either. But that was really confusing. I was like, did running cause it? I don't really know. I'm just going to, walk and chill. And so then I had a lot of catching up to do on fitness and stuff afterwards because you just don't really know what's done it. Like, you can run, but don't run too far and don't run too fast. Like, it's just quite,
it's a minefield, isn't it? And I think, if everything goes smoothly and you carry on as normal, you'd never think twice about so many of these things. But it's that concept we've spoken about so many times of there being two lots of people in the world, those who have experienced a miscarriage and those who haven't.
Yeah.
And it's just things that you wouldn't even enter your sphere.
Yeah.
Previously, like with your first pregnancy with Leo.
Leo, yeah.
Leo, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was super careful because you read up on everything, don't you? Like what not to do and stuff. But
yeah. But it's just that you're doing that because you think it's sensible rather than doing it because you're scared that it's going to make something go wrong.
Totally different. Totally different after you've had a loss. Yeah.
Yeah. So, a difficult time. But no, I'm yet to speak to someone because we speak a lot about the 3 miscarriage rule and obviously the graded model of care that Tommy's bringing in to try and counteract that and change that. But I'm yet to actually speak to someone who made it to 3 and has sort of had those appointments and had anything out of it. I think Alice, no.
Yes.
Obviously, I'd much rather that you had Charlie than had the consultant's appointment. That's a much better outcome. Yeah, absolutely. I think Alice, who we ran with in Dorset, did get to some investigation points, but I think if I remember correctly, that was done privately. If I've got that wrong, Alice, I apologize, and feel free to send me a scathing email and to correct me. I know she'll be, I know she'll be listening, but yeah, it'd just be interesting to know how that process is and how successful
Yeah.
those outcomes are. But you've obviously
Yeah.
got the successful
Yeah. I think
outcome
that was another reason for wanting to
in the
do this
end.
as well, because it's nice to be maybe
Um,
a sort of bit of hope for people that have had 2 or 3 miscarriages. Is like, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. You know, we're proof of that. Lots of people are proof of that. So
mm,
that's also part of it. There was also the fact that they, after the second one, they gave me progesterone to take. I don't know if you've heard much about that. And that was with Charlie. So maybe there's other
yeah.
things along those lines that they do to try and, I don't know, prevent. Which again ties in with the like, well, is it something wrong with me, or are we trying to withhold a pregnancy that's not viable by taking that? I find it all really, do you know what I mean? I find it all really confusing, but
Mm.
there we go.
Yeah, there's an element of I guess there's an element of sort of playing God within a lot of fertility treatment, isn't it? There's you can look at it and say
Hmm.
how far is too far. You know, I think the debate has been settled to a large extent now, but I know at the time that IVF was developed, it was sort of this is completely wrong, and particularly at a time where society was perhaps a lot more Christian
Yeah.
than it is today. You know, are we playing God? Should we be doing things like this? And
Yeah.
but I guess you could
Yeah.
say that
Yeah. For
about
sure. Yeah.
medicine as a whole, couldn't you? You know, we vaccinate babies. You know,
Yeah.
Rupert's got his
We've
third set
learned a
of
lot
jabs this
and
week.
things that, yeah.
Uh, Without that, years ago, kids died left, right, and centre. So is that playing God? Is
Yeah.
you know, the whole medical system is playing God ultimately, isn't it? So I think if
Yeah.
there's little
Great.
ways here and
Definitely.
there to help things along, then great. But I certainly think, without being an expert, there seems to be a lot of evidence for progesterone being helpful in cases where pregnancies have been struggling previously. So I think that's part of
Yeah.
the Tommy's model is sort of I really need to read into it more because so I can speak more knowledgeably. But it's sort of the point is that if you were to investigate after one miscarriage, or even not to investigate, but if you were to say give progesterone straight away after one miscarriage, then it would reduce the chance of a second miscarriage by
Yeah.
X, and therefore save the NHS, you know, the subsequent care and all that sort of thing. So it's very much angled from that perspective of
Yeah.
this won't necessarily work for everyone, but it'll work in
I think there was
50% of
something that I
cases
read
or
that like the
40%
more
of cases or whatever.
miscarriages
So
you
you're
have,
just
the more
knocking
affected the
down the
lining of
chance
your
of
womb
those
is, and
subsequent
progesterone works to help
instances.
that. So maybe it's not as effective after one, but after three it is. But yeah, same. I don't, I haven't really, I mean, yeah, not read anything for a while, I guess.
Mm.
But
Yeah. I,
you've got quite a lot going on.
um, yeah, in
I
my position, I perhaps
wouldn't
ought
beat
to
yourself up
read these
about
things a
that.
bit more
Don't
carefully,
worry.
but time is a very precious. Yeah. I'll get there eventually. Um, the one thing I did want to ask about was that you mentioned obviously that after your third loss, you then sort of you and your husband sort of wrote it off.
Yeah.
That's a big decision to come to. And I think again, just remembering the conversation with Charlie, he sort of said that as they went further along the IVF process, the
Mm.
taking the decision to stop always felt like a much more difficult decision than the decision to carry on. How did that come about
It was incredibly
for
difficult, but it
you,
was
and
mostly about, I
how
felt
difficult a
like we
decision
weren't
was that for you
giving
at the
Leo
time?
our all because we were so preoccupied with trying to make a brother or sister for him, and that, you know, months and months of that being on my mind. It's probably slightly different for you and for Adam because you're not physically pregnant that often. So having 3 miscarriages means that I was consistent, I was pregnant for a lot of the time. And I could feel that, and I was thinking about that, and I wasn't, and every time, and I was worried about losses, and I just felt like I wasn't giving him my full self, and I wanted to be, better for him. I wanted to be more joyful and play and just get on with life. And we've always had fun and we do lots of stuff, but I didn't want that to be constantly on my mind. So I thought if we just close the door on it, we're very blessed to have Leo. He's amazing. Let's just have a lovely life with him and we'll stop thinking about it. And that was what it was basically. And yeah, it's obviously we didn't start using contraception or anything. We just kind of just left it. We were just like, it is what it is. And so it was mostly about Leo. So I guess we would have carried on if we were still trying to just have one, but it was because I felt like it had been a year and a half of not quite fully focusing properly and being, far too mentally consumed by this want of something extra and feeling like, well, that's not fair because you've got something amazing. Just enjoy that, get on with life. He's not going to be little for very long. So that was it. Yeah, that's how we made it. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was very much I can't do this anymore, you know.
Of course. Yeah, fair enough. And I think makes me think back to when we spoke to Edwina, who ran in Lancashire, and she said something very similar. That was the quest for a second became all consuming, and I think her and her husband ultimately reached a point similarly where they said we're almost getting to a stage where it's like, what's the point of having the one that we've got if we're going to if we're going to be focused on the one that we haven't got yet. So yeah, I can see that. I can see that completely. You obviously you said you had Charlie last spring.
Yes, all right.
Yeah. And
last April. He's 13 months.
That's a fun age. I'm thinking I've got all these fun. I think I say that about every age though. Someone goes, oh, he's 9 months. I go, oh, that's fantastic. Fun age, that one.
Yeah. Well, they're all so different, like such a new challenge every
9
few
months. I
months.
go, oh, that's
so
fantastic. Fun age, that
different
one.
Kind of fun.
But we started recruiting for this at the beginning of May. So it would have come onto your radar not long after Charlie was born, I guess.
No, I feel like it was September, wasn't it? So
I had 39 conversations, so trying to remember exactly when each one of the plays.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'd started running again, and so he would have been about six months old. So I feel like it was September, October, and then I got hypothyroidism in October and had to stop. So yeah, it was very close to that time. But go on. So I didn't know you'd been starting since May.
Yeah, we'd been at it for a little while. So my question from that was: do you think you would have joined us for this if you hadn't had Charlie?
No, I don't think I'd have the strength to do it. I think it would just make me sad. I wouldn't have the enthusiasm. No, I don't. I think the answer is quite simply no. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking about before we did the podcast. My reasons have way become other people around me I've got friends that still don't have their children, and so if I was going through that, I don't think I'd have the interest in running. I don't know. It's difficult to tell really, but
yeah,
probably not. Probably not.
And I'm in a similar boat, but same as you, I don't think I possibly could have conceived of this, certainly to the scale that we're doing it, if we hadn't have had Poppy.
That's fair.
I will happily admit that I am not a big enough person to do.
Yeah.
So it's just even though you sort of said that you'd reached a point where you were at peace, perhaps isn't quite the right word, but you were happy you were prepared to let a second one slide, even with that mindset, supporting others perhaps still would have been a step too
because
far.
well, part of that was like, right, we're not going to talk about it anymore. We're not going to think about it. We're just going to get on with other stuff. And so this would have made us constantly be thinking about it still.
Yeah.
Which I don't think would have been good for us. But
And even Amy has mentioned this obviously because Amy was pregnant with Rupert for the majority of sort of the 9 months running up to when we started the challenge, basically. So every other day, seemingly, I was speaking to someone new who had an experience of miscarriage, and it meant that we'd recruited another person for the challenge, which was great. But then we'd be talking about what their story was, and that for Amy, who was, as you know, well, and for me really, but was in that mindset of I'm pregnant again, but we've lost one, what's going to happen? And that sort of constant paranoia and worry, to then have every 5 minutes a new story of something having gone wrong fed into the setting.
Gosh, yeah.
Quite hard for
I bet. I thought that when you said that you guys were expecting, but everything went all right and he's doing well, I take it.
It did, thankfully. Yeah. So
Good.
but no, you mentioned other people, and I think again that's ultimately what led. I think I've said it before, but it's what led me to this, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking every time.
Yeah.
And obviously, the closer the friends are, perhaps the more heartbreaking it is, just because of the personal relationships. But talking to people throughout last year and hearing your story and other people's stories for the first time, it just doesn't get any easier. And so if we fortunate ones, again, very much in inverted commas, can have that a bit more strength to try and help other people who are in similar positions.
Yeah,
well,
I totally agree. Yeah, does anything? No, what you're doing is amazing, and yeah, I do feel very proud to be part of. Well, we'll see if I get round on Sunday, but if I manage to finish the marathon, I'll be
we'll get round.
very
We
proud
always
of
get round.
done it. Good, that's the spirit.
We always get round. But yes, as ever, I think we mention every week, but if people are listening and want to support these experiences and these sad losses and help people through them, then obviously this is all to raise money for Tommy's. So please visit marathonsformiracles.com and click on the big pink donate now button. Have you watched Babies?
No, what is it? A TV show?
No, it's a TV show, yeah.
Right.
I've asked this a few times and I've not had someone say yes yet, but it's a drama series that the BBC have just made about a couple who experience recurrent miscarriage.
Okay.
And they haven't dramatized it, basically. It's a drama in that it's fiction and it's acted, but it's very true to life.
It's real.
Quite close,
okay.
Quite close to the bone. I haven't quite finished it. I've got 1 episode or 2 episodes left to watch, but I tend to watch it on the plane backwards and forwards to Dublin and just sit there crying on the plane.
Does Amy watch it as well?
Amy hasn't watched it. I told her that I'd watched the first 2 episodes. She said, should I watch it? And I said, I'm not sure. It's one of those, like it's so well, it's almost too well done.
Right.
That I
do want to see that now that you've said it, but as ever with these things, because they're made to have this effect, but like I was crying before the opening credits. Like it was really, really well done. Just so spot on in sort of the emotions and the scenarios that people are in. And but that's a great thing then, if people that watch it that haven't been through it as well, because I think
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. But it's one of those where I'm starting to wonder, like, for someone who stumbles across it, who hasn't been through losses,
Mm.
it's probably a bit miserable to watch. As like should we watch the next episode of Babies? Like, no, it's not one of
Yeah,
those. Yeah.
yeah.
For people who have been there, it's possibly a bit too close to home. I'm
Mm.
sort of wondering, I'm sort of hoping that the people that get the most out of it are sort of friends of those who have
Who have,
lost babies or had miscarriages. I think for
so they can
them,
support. Yeah,
yeah, to sort of sit
that's
there
a
and
good
go,
shout.
yeah, like when we went for that dinner and we had that conversation and that's how it felt and it was a bit weird. Like
Yeah.
that's what's going on.
But that was a big thing I remember as well, because people just throw this word around like, "Oh, I had a miscarriage,"
Mm.
like you just had a period, like it's just some. And we were like, "This is like the worst thing we've ever been through." Like, I don't even want to use that word now. I want to be like, "We've just lost a pregnancy," or frame it some other way, because
Yeah.
the way that we feel surely isn't just something so throwaway. But
Mm.
you don't really get it, and I don't think we got it before. I think I'd probably have friends that said it, and I didn't quite get the impact of it until we'd been through it ourselves. Like, you just don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah,
This is as ever where media and arts can be so important, isn't it? Because you, talking to your friends whilst you were in that difficult time, you never want to. It's not even that you don't want to, but I don't think you could ever depict those scenes and those emotions and that constant churn of worry and doubt. I just don't think there's a way to convey it
no,
through conversation. So actually, for a TV series to do it across 6 episodes, where, you know, that it is a very real depiction of what could be. But
yeah, there's not
yeah,
always a happy
it's
ending,
just
sadly. Yeah,
endless episode after episode of like,
I think I am
this
going to
is what
watch.
it's like.
I don't know why. You just, yeah, want to feel, I guess, go back into it. I try not
Yeah.
to think about it too much now, because we're just, I guess, because we
Mm,
got everything that we wanted. It's like, let's be grateful and carry on, and not dive.
yeah.
It's funny because I was just saw it in the bedroom out a few days ago, and we found the scan that they gave us on the day of the miscarriage, and I burst into tears. And I've not thought about it for over a year, really. Well, maybe a little bit during the pregnancy with Charlie, but for a long time anyway. And then just seeing, because they still just look like, proper little people. Like, it's just, it is such a heavy thing. So
Mm.
maybe I won't watch the show because I don't know. We'll see. Glad to know about it anyway. Thank you.
Give it a go. Do it on a good day. When you
Yeah.
um, do you do you think it's as simple now that is sort of a chapter of your life that happened and is no longer there because you've got two and you're happy and on you go? You mentioned that you perhaps haven't thought about it for a year or so. Is it something
Yeah.
that's present for you, or is it?
It's that's a good question. It's mostly not, if I'm honest. I'm quite a positive person, both Adam and I are. We get on with things, but I'm also quite, I don't know whether to say, maybe slightly spiritual. And I think about these things as in like who they would have been, kind of thing. And I think it will come up throughout my life, and I will think of it from time to time and wonder. And there's also, scientifically, there's a thing where, especially if you're pregnant with boys, you retain a certain protein in your body, even
Mm,
if you're only pregnant briefly. And so every pregnancy, you keep a little bit of that forever, like that. There's stuff like that that's fascinating.
yeah,
And so if I do sit and think about it, I think deep on it. And that's the reason
yeah,
I try not to. I try and, again, just to stay present for the boys and have a nice, happy life. And we do have a happy life. But yes, the short answer is I will always think of it and come back to it. It's not just a done and dusted thing, but
yeah,
it's not something that weighs
yeah.
me down, if that makes sense. It's,
No, right, which is
everything's an
fair enough,
experience.
and
So, yeah.
which I think is good and fortunate, because I think for some people it can be a lot heavier, can't it, and sort of long lasting. I
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
I'm similar to you. I'm very much, I try and play what's in front of me rather than what's behind me, and you sort of
Yeah.
use what's happening is to inform what will and could happen. But
Yeah.
I'm also very aware that I'm quite fortunate to have that sort of disposition. So it's yeah, it's definitely something that can sit a bit more heavily. But I think it was
Yeah.
possibly even last week with Nicole that we were talking about that exact same thing, because of the proximity of Poppy's conception to the previous miscarriages. It would never have been possible for both of them to exist. And
Yeah.
so it's that idea of,
I,
would
yeah.
I would never have wished in advance to have lost that first pregnancy, but actually in hindsight, if that hadn't happened, then Poppy wouldn't exist. So
Yeah. That's a huge part of it because Charlie's just incredible and he's brings so
yeah,
much joy into our lives and he sleeps well. Like there's so many great things about him. And it's like I wouldn't change it for the world. And so yeah, that's a good point. It's part of the reason you don't go back and you don't regret it. You wouldn't change anything at this point. It's all part of the
yeah.
journey. Yeah.
But perhaps, yeah, easy to say, or easier to say when you've had the
Easy to say when
positive outcome.
yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me about how running has been since Charlie. This is going to be an interesting one for Amy to listen to because she's in a very similar position to where you would have been 8-9 months ago, I guess. Amy's going
Okay.
to run. Amy's going to run the half marathon in Norfolk
Wow.
in September, which is our last week.
Okay.
So she's about 5 or 6 weeks into her sort of training plan for that. So
Okay. And so
how
Rupert will be about 9 months, will he, by then?
it'll be 9 months, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's been great. I've really, I mean, I love running, especially around here. I love running I'm not really into road running, but I like running in the
Mhm.
woods because I like being in the woods with my dog. I initially started by just I got a personal trainer for a month or so and just did workouts at home, just, strength stuff because I just had a baby. You've got to be careful.
Yeah.
That was when he was about 5 or 6 months old. And then I felt great on that. I lost a fair bit of weight and was like, I'll just start going running. So I just went for a lot of little 5Ks. And then when I signed up for this, I just started ramping it up a little bit. But I'd done plenty of 10Ks in the past anyway and enjoyed those.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a couple of half marathons at the start of the year, not races, but just distance wise, and really enjoyed those as well. But beyond that, it's quite hard. I think I feel a lot of guilt going out running for longer than that if it's not like while they're asleep. I do
Yeah.
find it really hard. I feel like I shouldn't be out for that long. So a little 5Ks, like I'm just going out for half an hour while you have a nap or whatever. So that was a hard thing for me. But I've now quite consistently run 40K or so each week since about January, I think. So you do manage to find a way, and I do feel good for it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. See if I've got a full marathon in me.
Yeah.
But I think she'll find it good. It's good for your headspace because I don't really listen to anything. I just run through the woods, and I just find it really good. It's calming, and
Yes.
you know,
Found another one.
I don't occasionally I'll put a podcast on if I'm doing laps or something that's a bit more boring. But I'd rather just do it raw. Go just run. Listen to the
Yeah.
woods.
No, I'm with you. And I've said a few times, actually, I need to start doing my midweek runs again because lovely as it is going to these new places and meeting with new people on a Saturday or a Sunday, I don't get that headspace anymore
You
because
need
my
your
running
meet up. Yeah.
with people, it's thinking about where's the next checkpoint, where are we meeting people, chatting
Yeah.
away. You get consumed in the day, and you
Yeah.
don't. I still get moments, but you don't spend as much time just sort of looking around and seeing
No.
what's going on. And
Yeah.
we got a fair bit of headspace around the Travone headland in Cornwall on my own couple of
When you
weeks ago.
but you didn't enjoy that head.
Yeah,
That's not the
yeah.
that's not the headspace
It
you
would be
wanted.
nice to. Yeah, it was quite a conflicted headspace, that one.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, so
No, I know.
I don't know how you're doing this because it's like training for this one marathon, just making sure you get the mileage in. It has sucked the fun out of running a little bit for me. But this past week, because it was the 2-week prior mark, just kind of
Yeah,
enjoyed it a bit more and been on some bike rides instead and stuff like that. So feel
Yeah.
like I'm past that, but
Yeah. Oh, well,
yeah,
I'm
I
sorry I
get it.
ruined it for you, but
No,
hopefully it'll all be
no, I'm
it'll all be
really
over.
glad I've done it. It's just that feeling of like, oh, I have to go because I didn't go yesterday. Whereas normally you'd be like, doesn't really matter, I'll go tomorrow or whatever. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. And that's the flip side for me, is whilst I've perhaps lost that headspace, as I was getting to that point in sort of November, December, where I was like, I've got to go. And similarly to you, I've felt guilty being away for that period of time. I did my long run at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And so that was then, whatever it was, 2.5, 3, sometimes 3.5 hours. But then I was back and I was done for the weekend.
Okay.
That was sort of that was our deal.
Yeah.
It did mean that, week at work, alarm goes off at 5:30 on Saturday morning. I'm like, do I need to be doing this? So whilst in some ways I've lost my my headspace, I've regained the joy a little bit, because, well, not a little bit, I've regained the joy a lot, because traveling around, seeing new places, meeting new people, and enjoying sort of scenery is really special. So
Yeah. Swings and roundabouts, eh?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Just one thing we always ask, through that period of 2 or 3 years when you were trying and having the losses, what was it that kept you going, or that you might advise to others going through something similar? Or what is it perhaps that in hindsight you might have done differently that would have helped you through that difficult period?
Oof. What kept us going was I really wanted a brother for Leo, and I don't know why. I'd got the idea in my head that we were going to have 2 boys, and it could have well been a girl, and that would have been all flipped on its head anyway. But that was part of it. He really wanted a brother as well. I don't know any other children that talk. He's been talking since he was about 10 months old, and he doesn't stop talking when he's awake. And he talked a lot about wanting a brother, and this is where my brother's going to go. And we hadn't said we were going to, it wasn't our idea. He's just like, oh, am I going to get a brother one day? He has asked for more brothers since we had Charlie, so we're probably not going to do that. But so part of it was just feeling like it just felt like our family needed someone else. We weren't missing someone, kind of thing. And that was what kept us going, I guess, was that feeling of like, it'd be really nice if we were a 4. But I don't know what I would do differently. Not. It's hard to say, because when you're in it, you can't do it, but not think about it so much, because it was the minute that we stopped thinking about it that we got pregnant, and it lasted. And that's probably nothing to do with it, but it was much better for our mental health, and probably better for me during pregnancy to be like, all right, we've moved on, we've moved along, it is what it is, kind of thing, rather than putting all your eggs in this basket of like, this is this is everything to us, kind of thing, which is kind of what we treated it as for quite a long time. And maybe that wasn't the right approach. But I don't know if I'd say that to someone who's currently going through it, because it's easier said in hindsight,
It's interesting you say that, because Amy and I had similar, in that we'd been trying for a couple of months after the miscarriage, and I can't remember exactly the time frames, but it got to a point where it was all getting a bit intense, and I just said, look, stop. We need to just stop for a period of time, just relax, think about something else, because this isn't healthy. And the next month then we got pregnant, and then we had puppy. So
it's wild, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got some friends who are very much in this at the moment, and we were with them a couple of weeks ago, and I told them that, and delivered it in the kindest way I could, and whether it landed or not, I don't know. And as you say, when you're there and you're in it, it's very easy or it's not very easy, should I say, to perhaps come to that decision.
No. And
unless
do you know what, though?
We did, where the pressure built up too much, and we just went, stop.
It's almost like a breaking point, isn't it? But also you can't fake it, because I do remember thinking after the first one, okay, it might not happen then. I'll pretend it's almost like I'm not that bothered, but it was still very much there at the back of my mind. Whereas after the third, it was really very real. It was like, it's not going to happen. Let's move on. We're done with it. And so you can't really fake it either. And it's hard to, if you're not done with it, then you're not, and you're still going to think about it because we're quite complex creatures. You
can't decide that.
Yeah, you can't.
You don't care. So tell us a little bit about the route on Sunday. Where are we going? What are we doing?
Sure. So my partner, Adam, has pretty much done this one. I did map one on Strava, but I don't really know what I'm doing. And it was just a bit of a higgledy-piggledy mess. And it was way too much elevation. I thought if I can at least try and make it more flat, because it's going to be hard. I think the last hour in particular is going to be very hard, given that I've not run for that long before. So we're going to start in Colford, which is a town in the Forest of Dean. And we run, it's sort of a cycle track that's downhill. Probably the first 10K is pretty much downhill. All trail, 88% unpaved. So it's all trail or a little bit of gravel through different parts of the woods, round a couple of lakes. There was one point that was, so they cut a lot of the trees down and then it's a working forest. I don't know if you know that. So they change it a lot. So you might suddenly come across an area that says, right, danger of death. You can't go along this route all of a sudden. So there's a couple of points that we might have to go slightly different around, but it's not huge. There'll be roads or something that we can go on just briefly. So for the most part, it's going to be through the forest, hopefully shady, and we'll finish at a lovely pub called the Rising Sun, which is right in the depth of the woods in kind of Park End. Really nice, really cool place.
Brilliant. I think it's going to be beautiful.
Should be fun, hopefully.
Rick, who I mentioned earlier, he can't remember if it was before we started recording or not. So Rick is a good friend of mine from uni who ran with us for most of the second half on Saturday. And he is from the Forest of Dean originally. So I was telling him about it and he was like, oh, you're going to have such a good time. It's so pretty. Be all, as you've said, all trails through the trees. You'll have a great time. So,
yeah, we'll see. We'll almost certainly see a lot of deer, but we'll be very lucky. If we're very lucky, we'll see some boar as well. So we're not from here. Adam and I are from Manchester, but we've lived here for about 4 or 5 years since Leo was born, pretty much. So almost 5 years. And it's just, it is. It's gorgeous, but it's not a huge space. So obviously it's the Gloucestershire county leg. So we could have done it anywhere, but within the forest itself, this is the reason we're doing kind of a lap within a lap, our route, rather than kind of an out and back or whatever. It's not a huge space, but it's within, there's so many different trails and it's just quite exciting. Yeah, it should be a fun one, hopefully. Yeah. I hope you have a nice time.
No, we always have a nice time. Don't worry about that. Always have a nice time. As long as I don't run out of snacks, I'm happy. So well stocked up. But no, I'm really looking forward to it, Bex. And as ever, thank you so much for being involved and for your enthusiasm. And we haven't really, you brushed over the fact that midway through training, you were really not very well, and have sort of overcome that and got back on the horse and is still going to be running on Sunday. So no, hats off to you.
Thanks.
And everyone who's running with us. So
hats off to you, Ollie. We're all just doing a small piece of your massive puzzle. It's incredible.
It would be a very different puzzle if it wasn't for the people who are involved. So no, we'll stop trading compliments and so that I'll look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning.
Yeah, sounds good. Take it easy then.
Thanks,
see you in a few days.
All right.